Hey, my name is Gavin, and I am the producer of Off the Notepad. Today I'm extremely excited to share the very first episode of this brand new podcast. Today you're going to be hearing from the extremely creative, fantastically funny minds of Victoria and Halika. Starting off today's episode, you're going to be hearing two prompts from Victoria and a character from Halika. This is going to be a very interesting dynamic. I hope you all enjoy it as much as I have listening while being in the studio. Without further ado, we hope you enjoy Off the Notepad.
Hi there, I'm Halika Campbell.
And I am Victoria D'Angelo. We are creative writing majors at Linfield University, experts in our field.
Sure, some might say we're the greatest this department has. If you know who, let me know. Okay, so
right.
Today we're running through some prompts.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay, so the first one I got here is, you are a con artist who sells magical trinkets powered by belief. Everything changes when a school of magic forcibly recruits you in order to teach you to control your powers.
We've got a couple things going on that I already love. You're a con artist, and you're skilled with items, like magical items of belief, or you sell them.
It's powered by belief, like
Your
it's like, hey, I'm gonna give you this rock that I found on the ground, but it's going to make you super courageous, but only if you believe hard enough.
Right, so you believe with all of your might in that rock, and all of a sudden...
Yep.
That's amazing. Okay, you're recruited by a school of magic. Interesting. Okay. See, I don't even know what I'd start with. Like, do we want, like, scumbag con artist, or are we thinking, like, lanky kid off the streets? No one else has believed in this kid. They've had to believe in themselves the entire time.
That'd be cute, though.
Be cute. I mean, that's very, like, what is the word? That's very, like, magic school. You know, you start with the underdog protagonist.
Yeah.
You meet the other two idiots that they clown around with.
Mm-hmm.
See, I like the idea that it's some 27-year-old mess who's been conning their way through life, and then this magic school is like, listen, we need a teacher. We're also going to have to make you, like, redeem yourself. Like, you've committed so many crimes with this, you have to teach a class now and figure out how to get your shit together.
Oh, he has to be a teacher.
He's got to be a teacher.
Interesting. Now, here's my question. Does this person actually have magic, or are they legitimately a con artist, and the school just thinks they have magic?
See, I'd love it if they were legit a con artist. Like, just making their way through this magic world where everyone else has all sorts of ridiculously insane magic abilities. You have people stopping time, people conjuring fire, and this guy who's just had to go through all his life convincing other people that he has the power of belief. That's wild.
He becomes a teacher, and all he does is yell at his students, "You're not believing hard enough!"
You need to believe a little harder, and just, like, miraculously. Because I love the idea that the reader always has to doubt, like, does this guy have magic?
Yeah.
Because things keep falling into line, but it's also, like, mundane things, like something falls off of a door and somehow it's led to the catalyst of events. Like, it's...
His real magic turns out to be good luck.
Yeah, which would be interesting. See, because then we enter this interesting quandary where it's like, well, does it ever get revealed that he doesn't have magic, or he knows he doesn't have magic? Because then does that put him at odds with the students?
Oh yeah, that could be a reveal, like, hey, I don't actually have magic, piss off, I hate all of you.
Yeah, piss off, I hate all of you. Or even just, like, he grows so close with these students because, we're in the age of sympathetic teacher characters.
Yeah.
Like, we love a good, aggravated, sleepless teacher. Like,
who adopts all of his students.
All of them. So it's like, con artist gets better as a person, teaches magic kids how to deal with their magic stuff, but then magic kids realize their teacher isn't who they thought he was. He was lying to them like they were his con victims.
Oh, man.
So then it's like, how do you justify that?
Yeah.
I could see a really good, like, children's series off of that one.
Yeah.
Something space.
Oh, I forgot about space.
How would you bring that one into the space theme? Do you have any ideas?
It's
called putting your co-host on the spot because you don't have any ideas.
The space that your belief takes up controls how powerful you are.
Oh, that could be interesting. The bigger the belief.
Ooh, yeah.
But then it's like, how do you measure belief? That would also be an interesting system. But also, like, this is a con man lying out of his ass. So
Right.
he's just making it up as he goes.
Absolutely. Oh, man. What kind of class would he teach?
Oh.
Is he teaching, like, history of magic?
Oh, that'd be funny. Because then he's just getting stuff wrong. Because you know he was never here for this. You know he, like, never once learned any of this shit. The students are correcting him. Because there's always that smart ass in the back.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, actually, this happened in the 18th century. And everyone else hates them. So it's like, if it's history of magic, he's getting corrected constantly.
Yeah. But I feel like it would be easier for him to bullshit history of magic than it would be like a technical magic class.
Oh, yeah, it definitely can't be anything like intro to pyrokinetics. Like, it's gotta be vague enough for him to bullshit his way through.
Yeah.
Did you have something you wanted to add, producer man?
Yeah. So, like, kind of like running with that prompt, that could have been like the hook for like not all of the students, but one of the students actually finds out that he doesn't actually have any magic.
Could be, especially if the student decided to blackmail him too. That would be so funny. Con artist gets conned by 15-year-old.
What if one of the 15-year-olds also doesn't have magic?
Ooh.
They're from like this really prominent family who's rich and super famous, and the kid's like, I just want to make my family proud, but I can't like make fire out of my fingertips.
Right. So then it becomes this, because it's also like prim, stick up ass, rich
Yeah.
kid mentality. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I won't tell everyone else that you don't have magic if you help me discover mine.
Yeah.
Because then that could be the whole plot, is trying to get this student to have magic and whether or not that's possible in this world.
I'd love this kid. I love how we moved on from the teacher to the kid, but I love how this kid would be like totally internalized, like, I need to have magic or I'm not good enough, and he would put that onto the teacher, like, you're not good enough, you're shit, like, I'm not like you.
Oh, yeah. And the con artist is like someone who's totally comfortable with himself. You
Yeah.
have to be if you're constantly lying to people.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, kid, whatever you say.
Casually puts the kid down.
Just like 7 eye rolls, like, calm down. No, I love that. It's such an interesting prompt. Should we move on to the next one?
Sure.
What else you got?
So, my next one is, you were born with the ability to see the cause of people's future death as floating text above them. No dates, just a simple word of what causes their death in the future. One day, you are leaving work, but when you step outside, you notice everyone has the same text above them. You. A young girl runs up to you and tugs on your arm, excitement written on her face. She asks you, will you play a game with me?
That's like so webcomic-esque, like prompt.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's intense. What would you think for a protagonist for that one? You're leaving work, so you're clearly a little older.
Yeah.
I guess just starting with the basics, do you think that this protagonist, whoever they might be, have tried to prevent deaths in the past?
Ooh. I could see that. Like, if not for random people, then, like, from people close to them, like, oh, this person will die in a car crash. And they're like, you're never allowed to be in a car ever again.
We're not going to do that today. Yeah, that'd be insane if it's, like, so vague. Because clearly it's not specific, so you just be like, listen.
Yeah.
But then do their deaths change? Does that work? Because obviously if you tell someone you're not getting in a car again, you will die, they're not going to believe you.
Yeah, that's true.
Be interesting.
That'd be so tough, like, no, and it's not knowing the date, but, like, knowing this is how this person's going to die and not knowing when it's going to happen, especially if it's someone close to you. You're like, oh, your best friend is going to die falling out of an airplane. What?
It's so much. And also, how do you prevent that? Especially if there's a bunch of people around you and they have, like, earthquake or a natural disaster that you can't prevent.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Because then I feel like we can create one of two protagonists. The first protagonist being the typical, like, withdrawn, I've decided not to make friends because my friends will die, and that scares me. Or we have the other protagonist who's like, life is short, so I spend every moment I can just trying to appreciate the friends I have.
Well, that's hard, because I think it depends on how many people they've seen die. Because it depends on if they think it's inevitable or not. Because some people, they just haven't seen anyone die in their life.
Yeah.
Like, some people haven't lost anybody. That's just how it is. And some people have lost a lot of people in their lives.
So they're used to it. Yeah. Yeah, so then it comes down to how often does our protagonist witness death full on? Because there's just going to be some moments where your best friend dies in a plane crash and you never knew they were on that plane.
Yeah. Have you seen, like, the whole time loop trope where you're a part of this time loop? Like, the example I'm thinking of is there's a bunch of teenagers who are going into this haunted mansion, and the haunted mansion eventually kills all of them except for the one who's stuck in the time loop. And every time it restarts, they're standing outside of the haunted mansion, and this kid's trying to beg all of his friends not to go inside, but they just kind of laugh at him and
keep
brush it off, and they keep going in over and over again. And it's like, this is inevitable. Like, you can try and save their lives, but it's not going to work.
Right. That in itself is an interesting concept. I don't think I've heard the haunted house one before.
Yeah, I kind of think of that as far as, like, the trying to save someone's life when you know what their death is going to be. Like you said, you tell someone never get in a car again, they're not going to listen to you.
No, even if you tell them everything, like, listen, I can see how people die, like, this is how
and they would never believe you.
Die. They wouldn't believe you, or even if they did, they can't stop themselves from getting into a car.
Yeah.
Because there's always that fleeting thought of, but it won't be this time, right?
Yeah. Even if it's something like not as something more avoidable, like never get on a plane again, like, still
it's because again, there's always, if it's we're believing in the finite, it's always going to end out this way. Clearly it always ends out that way. You're always going to get on that plane, and that's scary in itself. We've spent a hot minute speaking about
death,
but this power in particular. We have not talked about the little girl. Which I'm so put off by. I can't tell if I like that.
Nobody likes, will you play a game with me?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, the first answer is no. Absolutely not. But it's also like, is the little girl necessary for this point? Why is the little girl here? Because obviously, immediate, like, gut reaction, that's an antagonist. Like, that is some eldritch entity that you do not want to play a game with, who's going to kill a lot of people. It's not going to be a good time. But, like, isn't also, like, facing inevitable death as an antagonist enough? Like, what does this protagonist need to deal with this for? That's just rough.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think this girl ties into the fact that apparently you will be killing everyone that you can see right now?
It's kind of scary. Yeah, like, it sounds like you're going to, whatever the game is, you're going to lose this game and you're going to kill a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Almost as though that's the natural consequence of that. Because that's scarier than, little girl, will you play with me, is knowing you're going to lose that game. That's terrifying.
But what if you win that game?
Yeah, because then it becomes, what is the prize?
What if it's a death game?
That'd be, sexy death game. I haven't had, like, a good death game content-wise in 1,000 years. But then it's like, this sounds like a grand scheme death game. Because if you're killing so many people, and people you're probably not close with, if you're just walking out of your work building and, oh my god. Like, what does that mean? Is it like a philosophical trolley problem in real life game, or?
I don't know. Oh, the trolley problem. That would honestly be so interesting. What if the little girl said that? Like, if you kill every person that you see here right now, then X amount of people will be saved from cancer. Or cancer will be cured.
Right. See, then it becomes a greater good.
Yeah.
See, that's when our conceptual protagonists fall into the same line of thinking. Because it's like, the protagonist who's been through this and, like, refuses to make friends is just like, for once, I actually do have control over something. I'm going to take this opportunity. And the other protagonist is like, well, of course I'm going to try and cure cancer. If that's within my power, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where things get really interesting because, of course, the natural answer is, well, you know, the few for the many. And that's like the scariest line of thinking.
Yeah. Oh, it makes so much sense, though, but, like, it's so callous at the same time.
It is. No, decisions like that are terrifying in media.
Mm-hmm. Who the hell is this little girl?
I don't know. I want her to leave.
Is it worse that she's a little girl?
I think it's like, naturally we're all terrified of little girls because little girls are, they're weird. There's no such thing as a normal little girl. They're all terrifying. If they're not vicious, then they're horse girls, which is another kind of vicious.
I liked horses growing up.
Were you a horse girl? Answer the question.
I was really into Spirit.
Oh no.
It had a good soundtrack.
I mean, from what I've heard, that's probably accurate. I never liked horses because I can't draw them, and it's embarrassing.
Really?
Yeah, no, it's awful. It's like, what am I, 20 years old now? Still can't draw a horse. Art school did nothing for me. It's terrible. Now that my horse trauma is out of the way. No, it's just like little girls are so instinctively weird, but they're all supposed to represent like naivete, innocence. So, of course, it's creepy that she's a little girl. It wouldn't be any better if it was anyone else. But yeah, I guess again, we're just thinking worst case scenario. This is an absolute death game. Like, this little girl is some greater entity who has the ability to kill masses and cure cancer. What if it's not, though? What if it is just a little girl who's a bit confused and too comfortable with strangers? And
Who wants to play hopscotch?
Who wants to play hopscotch or chopsticks or whatever? And somehow this interaction leads to the death of thousands.
Yeah, what if she, like, brings main character around to explore and they run across, like, a bomb that someone set up but never blew up?
Oh, yeah, or just, like, distracts the main character for 1 or 2 minutes, and somehow that just, like, it just messes everything up. Like, main character's attention was clearly supposed to be put somewhere else.
What if main character's, like, some bioengineer scientist and whatever's in the building that they just left is volatile?
Right.
And they didn't realize it.
Something they would have known if perhaps they were checking their phone.
Yeah.
Because it's like those small details. Like, if you had just been paying attention for 2 minutes, you would have caught it.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. That'd be scary.
Oh, that'd be so sad. Imagine them, like, noticing it, too. Like, there's these noxious clouds coming out of the windows of the building, and they can just see it from the street, and they're like, oh, fuck.
Like, oh, yeah. Well, then it's scary because, like, the direct reason for all those people dying is still you. So it's like, even though other people are going to classify it as an accident because it's a mass accident, who could have known? You could have known, and you'll always know that.
Oh, God.
That's, like, the worst part.
Yeah. That's classic survivor guilt, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, especially because it sounds like you and this little girl survived somehow.
Yeah.
Which is the worst part of all.
Does that girl get some trauma, too?
Oh, definitely. If she's, like,
that
normal
girl's
little girl-
parents die?
Oh, yeah. Like, they were just a couple feet away and just happened to be, whether it's the explosion or they were running into the building.
And suddenly our main character has a new daughter. Yes.
So I was about to say, from the prompt, you never do bring up that question. Does the little girl have you above their head?
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Oh.
What if it did have you, but she didn't die in the explosion, noxious gas, everything?
I think that would be the best option.
Oh.
The best option, because then the next, like, step is obviously you kill this girl somehow, whether you spend years actually, like, paying attention to her, or you separate in this moment and she comes back to attack you for killing her parents.
Yeah.
There's so many
Oh my God.
good ways you could spin that.
Oh, that's such an interesting question for this character. Like, you see this little girl and you're supposed to kill her even though you just killed her parents and maybe 100 other people, and you're like, okay, this child no longer has parents. Do I keep her? Do I put her in an orphanage, into foster care? Like,
Yeah, like what is the option? Because you're also living with that.
leave her on the
killed-
street.
Yeah. Like or just even abandoning her at the scene, like just running away.
Oh,
Because you
God.
assume she's going to die. Like
That's
in that
true.
moment. So then do you run like a coward or do you run
Yeah.
into the building? Like that's how you set up the true heart of a protagonist, is what they do in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really interesting prompt. Also trying to tie that one into space. We could naturally just talk about the space people take up and the space they also take up when they're lost. But also
Mhm.
like what death means to you is another kind of space. It weighs on you somehow, despite not being your own death. And I think that could be an interesting topic to broach.
Yeah. Could also make it really easy and say whatever this noxious fumes was like some chemical from space that they were experimenting on.
Right, or a little girl's an alien.
Mm.
Nah. The boring option? Yeah. I hear you cowards out there thinking about that. Don't do that.
And that concludes the first segment of the show. Hope you all have enjoyed the podcast so far. Coming up next, we hear a prompt from Halika that takes us sky high to LA, I guess, and has us question what we are willing to do to know the future. This is Off the Notepad. See you after the break.
Let me repeat myself. Spoblins. Or space goblins.
Fucking producer didn't turn the microphones on.
I see the vibes in the room.
He's trying to censor us.
Little spoblinist. We invite you here. And you just come in with all of this hatred. You tell me not to commit any hate crimes on the air, and you just...
How dare you?
Our Spoblin viewers will remember this.
They'll come for you while you're sleeping.
The public will know.
Oh, God.
It's really just out of the floodgates with that one. Just...
Hey, there is nothing more fun than fucking on Gavin.
It's true. If you're ever, like, stuck, suffering from writer's block, highly recommend just finding Gavin in the middle of the night if you can, and just going off on him. Telling him he has flaws he couldn't possibly have. Just burst in the room. Gavin, I bet you hate the ocean.
You, sir, sound like a turtle.
What the hell does that mean?
Are you offended by that? Do you take that personally? You should.
I'm confused.
And you smell like a violin.
You should be ashamed. See, and all of a sudden now you have a great new idea for your next novel. It's amazing how that works. Wait, producer man, no. Producer man, I take it back.
Go back. He's trying to leave us.
It's fine. It's whatever.
Oh, I can't breathe. So next prompt.
Is that mine or is that yours?
One of yours, question mark, if you want to get your thing back out.
Oh no.
Oh,
I've memorized
have
the
you?
last one. The last one is my favorite.
Oh,
Perfect. This is the last of the haha funnies and the last of the prompts I had prepared.
That's okay.
Don't tell Victoria, she doesn't know.
I didn't hear anything. I did in fact know though.
Oh. Halika didn't. Okay. I want you to picture this. You're sitting on a plane. You're going to LA, I guess. That's actually what it says on the terminal, LA, I guess. Very important world building. You're sitting on this plane, and this older woman whose like arms are just covered in all sorts of jewelry just sits down next to you. It's like a loud clank. as the plane is about to like get ready to take off, this older woman turns to you with this big, kind of creepy smile, and she tells you that she can predict your future, but she's going to need you to do a couple favors for her first. This is the prompt. What are her favors? And do you accept?
Personally, fuck no. That
Absolutely
sounds
not.
terrifying.
So sketchy.
Oh. Fuck all. I don't know. I don't want to know shit about my future.
Absolutely not. It is like flight prompts are the ones that scare me the most because it's like, don't speak to me if we're on a flight, you know?
That's my favorite part about the prompt, though, is that you're on a plane and you cannot get away.
Oh, yeah, no, you can't. And the way I'm envisioning it, too, is like it's not like an aisle seat. Like, you are stuck by the window. This woman is trapping you in.
I love window seats.
No, they're amazing, but not when there's a scary older woman who's like, perform a couple of tasks for me and I'll tell you things you didn't want to know about yourself. It's threatening.
I kind of wonder if these tasks aren't, because like the first thought I had when you're like, oh, she's wearing so much jewelry is like, I've never been a thief before, but today it begins.
Today is my
Like,
first step.
What if one of the tasks she asks you to do is to pickpocket her?
See, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
See, I was also wondering if this could turn into like an action story prompt where it's like, she needs your help to stop this plane from crashing.
Oh, I was going in the opposite direction. She needs your help to commit terrorism.
See, that's like, there's so many options. Like, who is this creepy ass woman?
Yeah.
What does she want?
Is she human?
See, that's why I was like, it fits into our space theme. It's like, is she human? And also, the idea of knowing your future is so overwhelming in its own, because then technically you know exactly how much space you'll take up forever. Because if this woman can do what she says and she just dumps all this information on you, one, is it like classic future stuff where, well, now you're not going to do anything that correlates with that future? Or is it going to happen exactly as she says?
I love stories that play with the idea of future because I'm a strong believer in like determinism as opposed to free will.
Me too, yeah.
Because free will makes no sense. And the fact that you see your future is genuinely a part of the determinism. Like, you see your future and there's only one possible way for you to react to seeing your future.
Exactly.
So technically that wasn't really your future, that was just part of your life.
Which is so wild. Because then it's like this interaction with this woman, like it was all planned. And in a sense, did she know? Because she had to if she could see your future. She knew where you would be. She got on this flight to LA, I guess, to meet you specifically.
Yeah.
Which almost implies that you are the only one who could perform these tasks. Which is why it would be so funny if they're just like, I need you to pick up this spoon when I drop it in 2 hours.
Oh, God. Have you... It's a short story and it's a movie. I don't remember for the life of me what it's called, but like these aliens land on the planet, and the big part about the story is that these aliens don't see time in the same way that people do. It's like they can see everything at once, and we don't understand their language at first because it's like this circular pattern that is infinite.
Yeah, was it The Arrival?
Yes, The Arrival. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Like, she knows everything that's going to happen, and she passes that on to you.
To someone, which is so interesting. Because then it's like, does she pass on this burden as a whole to you? Like, now you get to tell the future to other people on their flights.
Oh, God.
Which is so wild. Like, I just want to know the specifications of this woman's power.
And why does she have so much money?
Why is she so rich? Why is she so weird? Again, who talks to other people on planes? Only people you don't want to talk to.
Your first task, pickpocket everyone on the plane.
See, I was wondering, it could be something like you have to do something really shitty on this plane.
Yeah.
Because perhaps this isn't a flight to LA.
Join the Mile High Club.
Join the Mile High Club. Yes, Mr. Producer.
What if this leads into DB Cooper's like heist?
What is that?
What the fuck is wrong with you? DB Cooper stole a shit ton of money in flight and then parachute out of the plane.
Oh, Jesus. So it could be like that would also be interesting. A heist on a plane is already like, it's a bubble episode with the heist situation. So it's like things can't change. Things have to be static because they're so stuck here. But somehow you have to manipulate it in a way where you can get out of the plane. It's like, that would be crazy.
You know what'd be interesting is if, like, you have to complete these 3 tasks, right? But what if you get a little bit of information for each task you complete until the last one?
Ooh.
And the first one that you get, you complete the first task, and this lady says, someone's going to die on this plane before we land.
God. It'd be interesting, too, because if you, like, try and build it so it's, like, you think it's the, like, the sexy flight attendant who's, like, been so nice to you this whole time, and you're so worried it's her, but then it actually turns out to be someone completely different, and they die anyways, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because, like, did you fail the task if you don't stop so-and-so from dying? Like, if your task is help make sure this person doesn't die, or just keep an eye on this person, and you fuck up, what happens then? What happens if you fuck up the tasks?
Oh, there's failure involved now. Fuck.
Yeah, it's like...
Get thrown off the plane.
Ooh. Because low stakes, the woman just doesn't tell you. Like, she doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
She lies to you. She tells you something that won't happen, but makes it sound vague enough that it might.
Ooh, what if instead of revealing your future to you, she takes some of your future from you?
Oh, that would be cool. Not for you if you fuck up the task. But, like... Because she could even tell you, like, what she takes away.
Oh.
But then what would stop you from attacking this woman? Is it just the desire to want to know?
Well, I mean, the fact that this creepy-ass woman knows the future and is offering it to you for these cryptic 3 tasks makes me believe I can't take her in a fight.
Right? Like, it's... Because if she's not human, like we've been speculating,
Yeah.
I'm not fighting. Nah, I'm good. On a plane? Like, that's not
Yeah,
gonna go well.
it's not a good idea to do that on a plane either.
No.
Some buff flight attendant's gonna come up, throw you in with the luggage.
Just break you in half. And shove one of the pills they give animals to keep them knocked out. Yeah, that'll be you. In a tiny kennel. And it would look so bad, too, because it doesn't matter. Because I always imagine the protagonists either sticking with the teenage boy or just a teenager in general. I always imagine them so much younger than this older woman. It's just going to look bad. Like, they're going to get up ready to throw hands with her, and everyone is going to be like, that's an old woman. What are you doing?
Yeah. I'm also interested in this flight itself because, like, we're in McMinnville, Oregon, right? And to LA, that's like 1-2 hour flight. What if we're going from Maine to LA? That's 16?
What the fuck is that? Hey.
If the plane gets a
I'm
little
not
lost...
in fucking Germany. Okay? Depending on, like, which way you go, it can be, like, 6 to 8 hours.
Can you get that on one plane, or is it normally 2?
One plane.
One plane.
Typically.
So
yeah.
you're stuck on a plane with someone for 6 to 8 hours.
See, that would be crazy, especially if, like, you're doing shitty things. Like, the tasks are shitty. Like, maybe you trip the flight attendant or something like that. So everyone on this plane is starting to hate you, and you're just getting to learn more and more things about your future.
What if one of your tasks is to kiss a teenage girl who's sitting right next to her dad?
Oh. It's like, would you trade your dignity, your reputation for... Because obviously you're going to be blacklisted from the flight. You keep doing shitty things, no one's going to want you on their plane. I feel like, because I feel like we could write a protagonist who wouldn't care, who would just be like, I have to know. I might get a black eye.
So who is this protagonist? Why do they need to know? Because there's got to be, like, both of us were like, fuck no, we don't want to know our future. What is it in a person that makes them need to know their future?
Oh, this is like anxiety, like stick up ass. I have to know what happens because we can't control where we go.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, I just don't think about it because if I don't think about it, it's not real. So it's a great way to deal with things. But it's like, for me, it's a day-by-day event.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, for someone who is so desperate, like, everything in their life has been planned one way or another. They're a control freak. It has to go according to plan, so they have to know where they end up.
Well, wouldn't someone with a plan assume they already know where they're going, though?
Right, but this woman introduces the anxiety of, do you actually know? And I think that's what makes her scary.
Maybe she's like this knowledgeable. This man's like, I realize I just made it a man, but this guy's like,
The dude.
this guy's like, oh, I already know where I'm going. I'm going to be the head editor of Camus at Linfield.
Yes. Submissions, December 13th.
And he explains his entire life and where he's going, and this woman is like, oh, you're so sweet.
Yeah,
You
just,
think
like,
that's actually going to
condescending.
happen?
Yeah. Just like, I even love the idea that she hints at like things going wrong. So then he has to know so he can plan in advance.
Yeah.
But that's what makes our discussion about the future earlier so interesting. Because like, if you can't change that, you can't plan.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that just drive this character like...
Yeah, it would drive him batty. That's why I like the idea of this plane ride being so long, because we can spend the first half of the plane ride with her just going full mental torture on this man. Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's just like, it's so interesting depending on what the tasks are, too. Because if they're minimal, it's going to make him like overthink, like, what is this going to lead to?
oh yeah.
They're just going to lead to nothing.
I would love it to like scale up so hard. Like the first one's like real like non-consequential at all. Like maybe you grab something off of the trolley cart as it goes by.
Or like litter. Just
Yeah,
like toss
litter.
something in the aisle.
Yeah. The second one ups the stakes a little bit. The third one, murder somebody.
Oh, yeah. Like full on put someone's like... Someone has a peanut allergy on the plane. Someone has a peanut allergy on the plane. You just have to get the peanuts there. Yeah. Because it's so easy. It's so easy. And that's what makes it worse.
Yeah.
But even for someone who's like a methodical protagonist, like, again, it's too easy. And that rush they get, it scares them.
Yeah.
I don't know. The best part about this, like at the end of the story, the twist ending could be like, this woman cannot see the future. This is just a crazy old woman.
She's just a psychopath.
Because I love the idea of some like 20-something woman coming up to their little seating area after, and she's like, Mom, are you messing with your... I'm so sorry for her. Like, just, she does this all the time. I hope she didn't freak you out too much. I swear we're getting her on some new meds. I'm just like, ugh.
And if anyone wanted to make it fit the Camus prompt, then she could be trying to convince him that she's an alien.
That'd be the best part. Just how many lies can this woman stack?
Yeah.
Or you could make her a real alien. I guess. I wouldn't be disappointed.
She could be like the essence, the soul of a star.
Oh, yeah. I like the idea that this woman only exists on planes.
Oh.
So fucked. Like, as soon as the plane lands, she goes up to go to the bathroom. She never comes back. She's gone.
That would be so awesome for like the end of this narrative where she goes to the bathroom and this man just learned about his future and he's panicking and he's terrified and he's like pushing past everyone trying to get to the bathroom, slamming on the door, opens it, she's not there.
No. And it's just like, it's absolutely insane. You could even go like full mindfuck. Was the woman ever there? None of the other passengers saw her. Because I love the idea. We set this up at the beginning. Like, he bought both seats. He bought both seats, but the old woman, she's like, no, like, it was an emergency flight. She makes up some bullshit story. Because, again, that plays into her whole thing, like, I have to be on this plane to help someone, whatever. It's wild. Just torture this man. Torture this man for his hubris.
Absolutely.
It's what they deserve. But yeah, I love that prompt.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Right?
I can't match that. Fuck.
Do you want to cut it here and then see the difference?
Yeah, sounds good.